Hey everyone, welcome to Exit and Emergency, episode 16, and this episode will be all about remote heads. I'd have to say this has probably been the most requested topic that I do for an exit sign and emergency light video. I've received a lot of comments over the last few years about me doing a video with remote heads, and I think the reason behind it is in my videos, I show a lot of different types of exit signs and emergency lights, and some of them have a feature called remote capacity or expanded runtime. You can do either or. And every time I've shown units like that, I always say, this unit will last longer in a power outage, and I'm not using the remote capacity feature because I don't have any remote heads connected. So I think a lot of people have wanted me to try out remote heads, of course, since I've never done that before. And that's what we will be doing in this video. So above my bedroom door, I have a Hubble Compass combo. This is just a generic combo that Compass used to rebrand back in the day. I've already made a video where this combo has been featured before, so if you want to learn more about it, check out that video. But all you need to know is this has expanded runtime and remote capacity, but I am using the remote capacity feature. So it's got two backup batteries on the inside. It has an LED exit letters and two incandescent emergency light heads. I really don't need the combo feature. I really just needed some sort of unit that had remote capacity, but this is all I had. So I decided, hey, why not use a combo? And the test button's on the side. We'll give it a test. It works great. You might have noticed this wire that's coming out of the unit. So let's follow that and see where it goes. I know it's kind of a sloppy job, but it's just temporary. And we have this, some actual remote heads. These are Sure-Lights SRP-D, that's the model, and it is two LED remote heads. This is Sure-Light's current offering for remote heads. This is the plastic version. And I'd have to say these are probably the best remote heads you can buy, minus getting some dual light ones, but the only unfortunate thing with the dual light remote heads is they're proprietary with dual light units. But these Sure-Lights ones are universal with most exit signs and emergency lights, which is nice. Again, they're LED, so very bright with no maintenance, and I like them a lot. They're pretty cool. So of course for the emergency light spot, I have remote heads. There's no emergency light per se, I guess. I mean, this is technically an emergency light. So yeah, pretty cool. I like them a lot. And this will be kind of weird to show on video, but I'll test this unit. And when I do, it turns on the remote heads. It's kind of awkward for me to film it, but you'll see more of it later on. Moving on to the other side of my room, we have this thing, and you might be a little bit confused. I mean, this doesn't really look like an emergency light, so what is it? Well, technically it is. These are installed when you need remote heads for an area. They don't have an official name. Different manufacturers call them different things, but I've always liked the term emergency unit or emergency pack, because all it is an emergency light just without the emergency light heads on them. So you would use one of these if you need to power various remote heads in an area. Sometimes I've seen these being used in, like for example, a Walmart. They might have a unit similar to this on the inside, but then on the outside where they have a bunch of doors, they have remote heads. So one unit could power a bunch of remote heads. You might find this unit a little bit familiar if you watch my Exit and Emergency series. A few episodes ago, I had a chloride 3-head emergency light in this very location. And this is pretty much the same thing. It just does not have heads. This is again, a headless unit or an emergency unit version of that emergency light. So that's all this unit is. It's got two large backup batteries on the inside, and you might have noticed the test button and AC light on the side. If you would like to learn more about this chloride unit and even the emergency light counterpart, check out my Exit and Emergency video where I go over more about it. So anyways, you also might have noticed these two wires that are coming out of it. Let's go to the right first and see what we got. And here it is. This is a generic weatherproof remote heads. These are rebranded by a ton of companies, but these in particular are rebranded by Lithonia. So these are weatherproof. Of course, you can use them inside. It's just kind of silly and a little bit more expensive. These are probably the worst remote heads you can buy, but they're so common. They're not super bright. They're just they're made of plastic, but I feel like I see these everywhere. And these are the outdoor remote head version of this emergency light. Again, this is just a generic emergency light, and ironically this one's also branded by Lithonia. But you can kind of see the resemblance with the heads looking very, very similar. And just like this unit being, you know, mediocre, kind of dim, again, I would say these remote heads are the same. So that's the first set of remote heads. Now let's go the other way and see what else I got. And we have this remote head. This is an AtLite incandescent single remote head. I've always found these kind of interesting, just with the reflector design and kind of the two adjustable arms there that go to the head right there. So I thought these were cool. I picked it up. Again, just it's a standard indoor incandescent remote head. These were available. Actually, I think they're still in production. You can get a single remote head or double head or even triple head. So kind of cool. Really, I don't need this one on this side of my room because in theory, these LED remote heads would cover the room just fine, but I thought only having one set was boring, so I decided to pick up this one. So again, pretty cool looking. I like the design. And yeah, so now let's give this setup a test by pressing the test button on the emergency unit. So we'll press that and you can see this remote head is on. And on the other side, oops, kind of awkward how I'm filming this, those are on. So pretty cool. Now that we've seen my setup, let's go ahead and go into emergency mode. We are in emergency mode now, and here's the compass combo. I mainly have the heads pretty much just adjusted right at the door area. One, because the heads are so dim, it's kind of all it's able to do. And the other reason is I really don't need a combo in this location since I have the Surelights remote heads, but because this is all I had, might as well have them do something. So I think this is fine just to light up that area. So, and speaking of those Surelights remote heads, here they are. Very, very bright. I really like these. Again, these would probably be one of my remote heads of choice if I were to actually install some. So pretty cool. Let's check out how they're doing. Again, very bright, lighting up this area fantastically. So yeah, I like them a lot. Let's now check over here. You can see we have some light coverage starting here. And there's the generic remote heads. Again, I would say these are as bright as the generic emergency light version. Maybe a little bit brighter, but they're not doing horribly, but I just would be worried having them outside lighting up. But yeah, they're okay. Of course, there's the emergency pack, which isn't really doing much as you can see, but it's powering both of the remote heads. And then we have the AtLite remote head, which I think looks pretty cool. And it's just lighting up literally right here. It's hard to see on camera, but it is kind of lighting up around. But again, since these LED remote heads are here, it's kind of competing with it. But yeah, it's still cool though. I do like it. But anyways, so that's everything that's going on in my room. Again, this was a very fun setup. So yeah, that's all. Let's now move to the next location. And lastly, we have this exit sign. And yes, I just said exit sign. You can see there's no emergency lights on it. I normally have an exit sign combo in this location, but of course, since this is an episode based on remote heads, I'm doing something a little bit differently. So this is a high capacity exit sign, meaning of course it's just an exit sign, but it can power various remote heads, or I guess if you wanted you could just have it as an expanded runtime model. Something cool with it is it actually also has self-diagnostics, and that'll let me know if there's any issues with the sign, and it will also self-test itself. And additionally, it has another really cool feature that I will show off later in this segment. So this is originally made by a company called Changrong. It's based on another company's design called Yuyao Lixin. You might even recognize the type of sign. Here you can see this is the combo version of this exit sign. Again, they pretty much look the same, it's just this one doesn't have the emergency light heads. And this particular unit is rebranded by EmergiLight. I've gone ahead and unsnapped the faceplate so we can check out the inside. There's the LEDs up there. We have two backup batteries, two 6-volt lead acid batteries. Ignore the sketchy connection I made. I only had this Lithonia battery left, but it's stupid because it's proprietary, so the positive clip on there is larger compared to standard universal batteries, so I had to use this alligator clip. There's the circuitry and some of the wiring connections and the transformer. And then you can see up there is the label. So that's everything with the exit sign, but you might have noticed this wire that's coming out of the canopy. And if we follow that, we come to some more remote heads. This is a Lithonia ELAT MR24 dual remote heads. Something with Lithonia is they like to name all of their remote heads ELA, so it kind of gets confusing since everything has pretty much the same model. But these remote heads are based off of Lithonia's ELM2 third generation emergency light. Here is a Lithonia ELM2 third generation to compare it. You can see they have the same emergency light heads and they kind of have the same body design in a way. So pretty cool. It's almost just like a mini version of it, but obviously there's no circuitry or a battery, so it looks pretty cool. Again, I have it on the ceiling since there was no other good spot for the remote heads, so it pretty much just covers the entire room on the ceiling. Let's press the test button on the unit, and it is now in test mode, you can see. So the sign looks the same, but then you can also see the remote heads are on. And this test will last 1 minute. Or we can just press the test button again to cancel the test. Before we go into emergency mode, I wanted to show off that really neat feature I mentioned earlier. So here with me, I have one of my fire alarm pull stations, and this exit sign has a very uncommon feature, and it's one of the few in my collection that has the feature. So if I pull the fire alarm, you can see the exit sign is now flashing. So this exit sign has a feature called Fire Alarm Flash, which means when the fire alarm system activates, the exit sign will flash, which grabs your attention to guide you to the nearest exit. So pretty cool. We are in emergency mode now. If we take a look back, the Lithonia remote heads are doing great. Of course, the exit sign too. We check the floor, it's pretty good coverage. Again, these remote heads more just act like spotlights, but they are decently bright, light up the space just fine, as you can see. So I like it. It's definitely a cool setup again. Obviously I've never done anything like this in here before. So yeah, that's everything that's going on in here. that will conclude the 16th episode of Exit and Emergency. I really hope you enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun to make and put together. Again, it's different from what I usually do. And of course, you all have requested a video like this for a while, so I'm happy I could deliver. And I hope it's what you were kind of thinking of. And something I realized just now is there's not a lot of videos about emergency light remote heads here on YouTube. Not a lot of collectors share videos about them. They're kind of, I guess, not as popular, but I'm happy I was able to, and maybe we'll get some more videos like this in the future. So thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments or anything else you want to talk about in the comments section below. That's all for this video. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.